Can we play a game to start? I made up a game, and by I made up a game, I mean I shamelessly stole a game from the IGN UK podcast, which a listener submitted to them. But I'm stealing it. Now it's my game.
Okay.
It's a rhyming game. I'm going to give you guys a phrase. And the answer is that... the answer is a phrase where the first part of the phrase and the second part of the phrase rhyme. But what I'm going to give you is that phrase, but with different words for the first part and the second part. So then you have to try and figure out what the correct phrase is. And it'll be the first part and the last part will rhyme. So as an example, I'm going to give you some next-gen ones as an example here. So, for instance, I could say... The engineer fell in the valley.
I already lost you.
So the engineer on Next Generation is...
Jordy?
Scotty?
Jordy.
Oh, Next Generation, I'm sorry.
LaForge?
LaForge fell in a valley. He fell in a gorge. So the answer would be LaForge fell in a gorge.
No.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Another next gen one as a practice here for you.
Sure.
This one is from Becky. She came up with this one. The android will see you tomorrow.
Data later? I don't know.
Data will see you later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Data will see you later. Yeah, exactly.
That's great.
Okay. So I have four, and I'm going to keep scoring how you guys do. We're in the game for real now. All right.
Oh, shit. Getting my mic set up. All right.
Eric's taking it real seriously.
Yeah.
Jim is an asshole.
Kirk is a jerk.
Bam. Eric's got 1 point.
Yes.
All right. Number 2. The science officer is a hindrance to romance.
Spock is a cockblock.
Bam. MC's got a point.
Wow.
Number 3. Shoot, it's a bunny. Tick tock, tick tock. Once again, shoot, it's a bunny.
Damn.
That's close. Keep going, MC.
Yeah,
MC, that was the first part of it.
Blam, it's a hare. No, just see. Bunny, rabbit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Damn it, it's rabbit? Wait, no, that doesn't make any sense.
Damn it, it's a rabbit was correct.
Damn it.
Eric has 2 points. MC has 1 point. Here's the last one. The doctor can't control his chemical impulses.
McCoy likes little boys.
Tyler.
Wow.
Bones wants to get down. I don't know.
No. The doctor can't control his chemical impulses. I didn't think this would be the one that would stump you all, but the answer to this one is Bones can't control his hormones.
Oh.
Because he get freaky in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's true.
That's all I got. That's all I could come up with.
It was nice seeing a different side of Bones for once, because he's always like the curmudgeon of the group.
Mm-hmm. Not today.
I think we saw him smile more than usual in this one.
It was kind of creepy.
Maybe that's why he never smiles.
Eric, you won the game. Good job. I don't have a name for it because I stole it from another show and I don't remember what their name for it was. So, oopsies.
Too young for this trek. The final frontier. These are the voyages of
MC.
Troy.
And Eric.
Their mission to introduce Tyler to strange new episodes.
To seek out the best and worst media in the Star Trek franchise.
To boldly go where several podcasts have probably gone before.
So Troy, welcome back to the podcast.
Hi, thanks. I'm here. This time.
How was the holodeck?
Confined. It turns out that when the holodeck's not running and you're just in that space, it gets very oppressive very quickly.
Yeah, especially when you take the safeties off.
And especially when it's not actually a holodeck, but just a very small room with yellow duct tape.
It's the power of imagination.
Mm-hmm.
That's what this episode's about.
I'm so glad that I'm back for shore leave. Like, I was so excited when you picked this episode, Tyler.
We
Same,
didn't pick
bro.
it. It was Kyle.
Well, okay, but you...
Yeah. Thanks, Kyle.
You picked it through your process of allowing someone else to pick.
So, hello, and welcome to Too Young for This Track. This week, we are watching the original series episode. It's Season 1, Episode 15, Shore Leave.
Did you write notes for this one?
Yep.
He did. He also called it TNG Season 1, Episode 15.
I didn't change that. I saw that.
Oh.
Anyways, this is the Alice in Wonderland-ish episode.
Kind of?
Kinda.
I mean, it has a Alice in Wonderland reference in it.
Funny enough, it's not the only episode with Alice in Wonderland references in it, but I totally remember this episode having more than just that one scene, you know?
Like being more of an Alice in Wonderland episode?
Yeah.
I did too, actually.
Yeah. Is there another episode with, like, elements from the story? This is the episode, right?
I think this is it, yeah. I
mean, we could just be remembering from a different universe, like...
That's true.
The Bernstein Bears universe.
Bernstein? That's
Wait,
a whole
is it
separate...
the Bornstein Bears?
No, it's Bernstein is what I remember, but it's actually...
Yeah, Bornstein Bears, that's what it is, right?
Bernstein, right? Is what it is? I don't remember.
I like
literally
the Bornsteins, because then that makes me think that there's, like, the Burn Redemption? I don't know. With the Bourne movies, but with Bern.
The Bernstein Redemption.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know.
The Bernstein
Somehow
identity.
A dog just pulled open the door to the room I'm in. Like, it is. The door opens outward from this room, and a dog just opened it, and I don't understand how. Hey, Tyler, which was this again?
I already said that.
Is it? It's the Alice in Wonderland one?
Yeah.
That's all right.
I figured that was enough. Anyways, so we're watching Shore Leave, also known as Sulu's Got a Gun. I've decided I'm doing singing ones for everyone now.
That's very good. Mine was Westworld in space.
Mine was the one where a random furry appears.
The one? The one?
Well,
the one, Eric? You can't even call it the first one where that happens.
Fair point.
Mine was AKA Bones is Down to Bone.
I like that.
Everybody's down to... we'll get there. Okay. I can't jump the gun. Sulu's gun. I can't jump
Sulu's
Sulu's gun.
It's not Chekhov's gun this time.
So I guess we'll just jump into that teaser. So in the teaser, we have the crew of the Enterprise is exhausted because they've been up to God knows what for 3 months. Were they just driving in space backwards like they did that one time?
It's real exhausting.
So they're orbiting an uninhabited planet that could possibly be a good place to take some shore leave. Kirk leaves Spock in charge so he can go rest in his quarters. Meanwhile, McCoy and Sulu are seen scouting the planet. McCoy says the planet's lush green surface reminds him of Alice in Wonderland. Then he sees a giant white rabbit run by, followed by a blonde girl. The scene ends with a close-up of McCoy's confused expression. He's just like...
Confused face to credits.
Yeah, I love Bones' reaction face.
Bones gets a lot to do in this episode. I feel like we get to see a lot of him, and it's pretty fun. But we have to start up on the ship because Kirk is... Okay, Spock is in his normal position, standing like up and to the right of Kirk's chair. And Kirk has a back. Oh, my back. Oh, it hurts so bad. And there's a woman having Kirk sign some papers, which happens a lot on the Enterprise. I don't quite understand what that's about. And he's like, oh, my back hurts. And she starts like massaging him. And this is where this is not where it gets weird. Because he's like, oh, that's right. And maybe a little lower. And so he goes lower. And then he's like, yeah, right there. And then he goes, dig in there, Mr. Spock. And then Spock steps down. And he realizes that it's not Spock, it's the girl. And suddenly he's extraordinarily uncomfortable with the situation.
Yeah. Push hard. Dig it in there, Mr. Thank you, Yeoman. That's sufficient.
I don't understand.
I mean, it seems kind of inappropriate to have, like, you know...
I guess Spock is like his equal. So like it's less weird than having like your like Spock's his friend, she's his employee.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess.
I kind of like that it was uncomfortable for me. He's like, oh, that's kind of inappropriate, isn't it?
Yeah,
But it's an unusual moment for Kirk where he's, I don't know.
It's weird for him to be getting a massage from anybody on the bridge of the
true.
ship.
Yeah, probably
I guess
true.
that would be weird if it was Spock.
I mean, unless they have a spa or
I'm sure there's some
like,
fan fiction about
medical need.
Yeah.
I'm guessing. I'm guessing that there's some sort of physiotherapist that does some sort of massaging on the
There's
ship.
gotta be.
They don't have a counselor.
Well, no, it's just Bones, isn't it? It's got to be Bones' job.
It's got to be Bones.
Do you think... Okay, so TNG was the first one to introduce a counselor on the ship. Do you think Bones acts as the counselor on this ship? Because he'd be a terrible therapist.
Do you think he's a good counselor?
I can't see him doing that job.
This is future 60s. They don't believe in mental health.
Yeah, so down on the planet.
God, I love
anything
that
interesting
shot.
really happened? Like,
Tyler just pulled up a screenshot, and Sulu's just so damn happy on this planet. Like, every time you see Sulu in this episode, he's got the biggest grin on his face. And I don't know if, like, maybe George Takei had just been cooped up in his house for a while, and he was just really excited to be filming on location. But just every time he's on screen, Sulu's so happy.
I love it.
He's like, it's beautiful out here. There's sunshine.
Oh my God.
There's no bugs we have to worry about, except for that one time later in the episode where there's clearly a bug flying around, but we'll just ignore that.
Tyler, that was the creepiest shot of McCoy just then.
Oh, no.
McCoy is creepy. There's going to be a lot of creepy shots of McCoy.
We can't just talk about the screenshots. They can't see them.
Yeah. So anyways, on the planet, they're just like, wow, this is the most green, amazing planet. And it honestly looks kind of like, meh. Like, it's not that beautiful.
I don't know. I think
It looks a lot like Southern California.
It does look a lot like
oddly
Southern
enough,
California. But it looks pretty nice.
Yeah.
Like, I would hang out there, but also we've all been cooped up inside. I mean, I'd hang out outside just about anywhere right now.
I could definitely use some shore leave. I don't know about you guys. It's been a rough week. I don't know if anyone's watched the news recently. It's been rough.
Yeah.
And then a giant bunny rabbit shows up, and Bones is like, the fuck?
Yeah, a wild furry has appeared.
And then a little girl in a blue dress runs up. A little blonde girl in a blue dress just out of nowhere runs up and asks if he's seen a giant rabbit. And he's just okay with it for a few seconds, and he points in the direction where the rabbit went.
I think he's like so confused he can't form words, and he's just like, that way?
He's like, did I just drop some acid? Like, what is going on?
And then he just screams, Sulu! And he tells Sulu what happened, and Sulu's just like, are you okay? And that leads us into Act 1. Oh, Act 1 and 2 are beefy.
Yes, they are.
Like, yeah. So, in Act 1, Spock tricks Kirk into taking shore leave by using his medical records against him, which is probably a crime. Barrows comes too, because why not? On the planet, they run into McCoy, who shows them the giant rabbit and girl tracks. Normal-sized girl tracks, not giant girl tracks. Kirk decides to put a hold on bringing down the rest of the crew until they make sure it's safe. In the distance, Sulu shoots a gun wildly, and Kirk takes the gun away and begins to investigate the rabbit and girl tracks. While investigating the tracks, Kirk runs into his old academy bully, Finnegan. Kirk then hears Barrows scream and runs to see what's happening. She has been attacked by a Don Juan type after fantasizing about him. She says Sulu ran after her attacker. Kirk follows his path but gets distracted when he sees an ex-girlfriend named Ruth. And that's it. So I like how this starts out, like Kirk's like doing his captain's log. And he's like, Stardate 3025.3, because he's just so tired he can't remember like what day it is, I guess. I don't know. What's the point? Is that the time?
I think so. I think it's like 3 o'clock, right? Like
Stardate is like encompasses the year, the month, and the day, and the time. So I don't know. There are a lot of theories on how stardates work, but none of it
I don't
adds
think
up.
Kirk
Just
knows
don't-
how
just
stardates
don't
work.
worry
I think
about
he was
it.
just like, 0.3. That number doesn't make any sense. Like, because the episode before it started with a 4.
Everybody else in the Federation is like, oh, damn it, I gotta decipher more of Kirk's logs. He just
Yeah.
makes up dates.
So that's why the episodes are out of order.
He used to
That's
call-
exactly why the episodes are out of order.
He used to call them Kirk dates, but we complained about it, so he changed it to star dates. But you're still just making it up, Kirk.
Just put June 5th, Kirk.
yeah,
Come
like
on.
Archer. I think the stardate started with Kirk.
So yeah, back on the ship, it starts out with Barrows is like, Kirk, I don't see your name on this list of people taking shore leave, and he's like, it's because I'm not. I'm not dead yet. And then Spock comes out with his files, and he's like describing
A certain crew member.
basically,
Well,
yeah.
I think this is. Don't they get the call from Bones?
Oh, yeah, they
this
do.
Too?
Yeah.
Where Bones is like, hey, so listen, y'all. I just saw a giant rabbit in a waistcoat, followed by a little girl who was looking for a rabbit who was running late. And Kirk and Spock are just like, haha, very funny, Bones, and hang up the phone. And I'm like, listen, McCoy, you know you sounded crazy when you said this. You should have started with, hey, this is gonna sound crazy, but it's not a joke. I am being serious that I saw, and then you explain it. But instead, he makes it sound like a joke, and so then they don't take it seriously at all.
Yeah, and Kirk thinks it's like a trick. He's like, I'm going to give him this like mystery to solve, and so he'll come down and like he'll just be on vacation then.
Because Kirk has this mindset that like everybody on the crew is trying to trick him into taking a vacation.
I wonder why.
Which Spock
Yeah.
is.
He's straight
Yeah,
up.
right? Spock's. It's so
It's
good
hilarious.
because he doesn't just be like, he's not like, Kirk, you clearly need a vacation. Instead, he's like, hey, someone on this crew's being an asshole and is endangering the rest of the ship by not taking a nap. And Kirk's like, well, screw that guy.
Yeah, and Kirk's like, a crewman's rights end where the ship's safety begins, and then he finds out it's him.
Bum. And he says, before that, he says, this guy's taking shore leave on my orders. And Spock's like, cool. His name is Jim, bitch. And then Kirk's like, I guess I'll go take a
Yeah, he
vacation."
just like drops this sick burn on him.
He drops his pad on the floor.
Yeah.
Does he have a classic Spock eyebrow raise?
Almost certainly.
So then we just get that like close up of a gun under a rock.
For no reason.
Yeah.
Cthulhu's gun. Listen, what do we know about Sulu so far?
likes
He
weapons.
likes fencing, and he likes classic guns.
And he thinks about samurais occasionally. I guess we learn that
Occasionally,
later.
Because he is Asian, he must think about samurai, I guess.
Yeah.
Why isn't he running ship security instead of flying the ship? Like,
How did Sulu get promoted to
you
captain?
think he'd be all about phasers. Oh, and that's a good point, too. That's a good question.
What do you
He had the instance where he was attacking everyone with a sword, and this one he just finds a gun and starts shooting it.
To be fair, Data also got promoted to captain, and he turned everybody into the holodeck into copies of himself and tried to murder Worf and his son. So Starfleet's just real loose with that. Wait, did Data get promoted to captain in this timeline?
That was in the comics, right? I was trying to remember.
Yeah, in the comics before the 2009 movie came
Yep.
out. Anyway,
Yeah.
oh well.
Maybe it's a different timeline.
Don't talk to me about timelines.
Oh, we're going to get into some timelines.
Timelines make
Yeah.
me so mad.
A few episodes
No.
from now,
I
probably.
hate timelines. Almost certainly. One thing that's important to note is that very early on in this episode is very horny. So it starts with the yeoman on the bridge who just starts massaging Kirk without saying anything. That's like a little bit horny, but not too horny. But then down on the planet, like
It's all of the
I hate
women.
that this is the case. The women are all super horny on the planet. Like, they're like, look, a tree, let's hump. That's just like every woman who shows up on this planet has that reaction.
Yeah, it did seem to be all the women making the moves, which was weird.
So there's
Except for Creepy Bones.
yeah, well, but Bones is reciprocating because there's a woman in gold and a guy in blue, and she's hitting on him. And then as soon as Bones is
Yeoman.
with Yeoman, I
Is it
forget her name.
Barrow? Barrowman?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeoman
Barrows.
Barrows.
Yeah.
As soon as Bones alone with her, she's like, "Hey, isn't this planet cool and hot?" And Bones is like, "You're hot." And then it's
So,
just, I don't get it, man.
She's in more than one episode, right? Like, I recognize that name. Do we know?
I'm not sure.
Maybe they made her a character in the
I
Kelvin
will
universe
find out.
or something? Because I know she's shown up in comics before.
She is just in Shore Leave.
Oh, okay, weird.
Yeah, I was going to ask if her and Bones were a thing because they sort of seem like a thing.
It almost seemed like she had kind of a thing going with Kirk for a second there, but so I was a little confused.
That's
too.
what I thought in the beginning.
Like
no,
a love
that
triangle.
was just because. Oh wait, on the bridge, you mean? I was going to say that's just because she saw a tree, but that was before she saw a tree, so that can't be it.
Yeah, maybe she's just like into whatever guy's closest.
I just got to point out that is a short skirt.
Yeah, I was going to
Yeah.
ask. I don't remember them being that short in the other episodes we saw, but we pretty much only see. I forgot her name.
Uhura.
Yeah.
Yeah, Uhura.
Uhura.
Yeah. Uhura. Ugh. Uhura. Okay, yeah, we pretty much only see her and she's sitting down.
That's a good point.
Yeah, they're all that
Wow.
short. They're
Yeah.
damn short. The skirts get slightly longer on Next Gen, but not by much.
But we also see men wearing the skirts on
That's
next
true.
Gen.
Truth.
That's a good point. For at least a season.
For at least a scene? I think maybe 2?
Yeah.
I like the thought of an entire season.
I don't even. You just read the summary of this act, Tyler, and I do not remember what happens up
I
until.
remember.
Like they all just basically the plot is, hey, let's wander. Oh, because they see the rabbit footprints, right?
Yeah.
So they're like, okay, you're not totally making it up. Let's everybody wander around for a while and see if you find a big bunny.
Yeah, and Kirk's also like, it's probably nothing, but like we're going to delay everyone taking shore leave. Let's look into this. It's probably harmless. Gunshot sounds.
Yes.
Yeah, gunshots.
Oh, we're in Jacksonville.
I forgot about the
Jacksonville.
gun again.
Yeah. It's not Southern California. It appears
Yep.
they're outside Jacksonville.
Yep. Kirk has to do a lot of running in this episode. Like a lot of running.
He's getting his
fighting.
cardio.
Yeah, he gets into like a 10-minute fight.
There's a scene later on that I'm gonna have to talk about where they're fighting, and it's just awful.
If by awful you mean amazing.
And no, it's like awful. Like there's seriously no choreography in any of the fight scenes. It seems in
Yeah,
the
in
original
the entire
series. It's
original series.
that.
What are you talking about? No choreography. He does the thing where he puts two hands together and then like hits them with the butt of his hands, which just makes you swing your fist slower. It doesn't help at all. But that's choreography
Kirk
right
Fu.
now.
So yeah, they hear the gunshots. They run towards them, like phasers out. Like they're running really goofy, and they're like shaky cam, like oh. And they get there, and it's just Sulu shooting a gun. And Kirk's like, "What the hell are you doing?" And he just responds, "Target shooting." Like, it's not weird that he has a gun.
Yeah, Sulu is way too excited about that gun.
Yeah, he's just talking about how beautiful it is, and then he's explaining how guns
And then
work.
Kirk confiscates it.
So at this point though, as you guys are watching it, are like you're saying, Tyler, he's super excited about it. Are you under the impression that he's like drugged or something, that there's
That's
something?
what it seemed like. Yeah.
Yeah.
He takes a
'Cause
lot of recreational
Sulu should know
drugs.
better.
He was checking out the flora. So, I mean, that could be a euphemism.
What, are you saying that he's going to go up and smell like some random flower on the planet and it's going to spit out some plant juice on his face and make him trip balls and think that he's in a paradise even though he's not?
No.
That would never happen in Star Trek.
Not
I was
once.
saying, he's like, I'm going to go check the flora, and then he just, like, lights a blunt.
You guys, is that episode on the list? We should make sure that episode's on the
Kirk
list.
says, "What is that smell?"
Anyways, Kirk asks him where he got the gun, and he's like, I found it laying right over there underneath that rock.
Like a kid who just found a random firearm.
Yeah.
It's not. Yeah.
And then Kirk takes it from him, and he's just like, I'm going to hang on to this. It seems the fresh air has made you a little trigger happy, which is a hilarious line, Jimmy.
Hey, what happens to the gun after this?
Kirk just puts it in his pants, and it's a real old gun, so it doesn't have a safety.
Like a revolver.
And he's just running around with this loaded gun in his pants.
Does it come up again?
It does come up again.
It does come up again later, doesn't it? Okay.
Yeah,
so then we get this ominous TV antenna that's like looking at them.
It's like the camera's behind this TV antenna just pops up in front of the camera, and it's acting like it's crosshairs following them as they walk around.
And it's like wiggling, like, it's not obviously not stationary, like, and just rotating about an axis. It's like someone's holding it, and it's
For a second, I thought this was like a mistake that they left in, but then it happens again.
I thought that too.
I actually really like this. I feel like this works really well as a like, hey, something's up, something's watching them. Like, I think it does the job well.
It's like, hey, something sinister or ominous seems to be happening, even though we're not really showing you what it is. Mm-hmm. There's something here, and it's watching them.
I totally agree.
It's not an abandoned planet or whatever. The planet was supposed to have no life on it, so it's like, oh, there's actually life forms here.
And something observing them, I think that's the key. Is like, because I mean, we've seen the bunny and stuff, but the fact that they're being observed it's a cool reveal for that, I think.
Yeah, and there's something random that I think is just a mistake. I think it's just because they're filming on location in some woods, but there's this tree and this bush that have like this orange paint on it, and later on we see this again, and I thought it was blood.
Yeah.
And like in the scene, I'll mention it. I thought it was blood, but like then looking at this, I see that it's here. So I'm guessing those trees were getting cut down or something. But
it's not actually that.
Oh,
it's way dumber than that. They brought red spray paint to them or with them to Vasquez Rocks and randomly spray painted some of the plants red to try to make them seem more alien and exotic. Which
really?
Okay, whatever, fine. Except for that. The conceit of this episode is that the planet is making what they want to see, and they keep talking about how much this reminds them of Earth. So it shouldn't. Yeah. It should look exactly like Earth because it's fabricated out of their brains.
That's a good point.
I can't believe that that's what's happening because like it obviously just looks like spray paint.
Apparently someone in the landing party was thinking, man, this reminds me of this park at my hometown where some thugs came through and spray painted red spray paint all over the trees. And look, it's just like that here.
I want to point out, it's not just all over the plants, it's also on the grass.
Yeah.
Like the spray painted parts of the ground as well. Screenshot.
It just looks like someone's bleeding all over the place.
Yeah.
Like a massacre happened here. Like, do.
Like that rabbit.
What happened to the girl? Did we see her again? Oh, shit.
It's actually...
It's just got dark.
It's actually just the Monty Python rabbit growing up.
So Kirk and McCoy go off to look for the rabbit, and McCoy's like, I feel like I'm just being picked on. Like, I wish you would have seen this rabbit. And McCoy's like, Kirk's like, I know what that's like. I used to get bullied at the academy. This jerk named Finnegan. And then he just shows up and he's like, hey there, Jimmy boy. It's me, Finnegan. And he's like bouncing around like a freaking psycho.
Here I am! Run! And he's just like grinning madly.
Yes.
It's
like
weird.
Really off-putting. And he just walks up and hits Kirk in the face.
Yeah. And he's just taunting Kirk.
Yeah, he's like a leprechaun or something. Like he's just like a... And I was trying to read into this a little bit, and I think it's supposed to be like an exaggerated version of what Kirk remembers, like he's projecting, and so of course this guy's like an extreme version of the real guy,
So they just make the most annoying human possible.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Did anyone else kind of think this guy looked like Christoph Waltz? No? There's like a couple shots where it's like, wait, is that Christoph Waltz? Obviously it's not, because was he born then? But
there's like a few bits where he's like smiling.
Yeah.
I don't know. But so they fight a bit. Kirk gets punched in the face, like he said, and then they hear Barrows screaming. So like Kirk just like runs off, and Finnegan's like, always an excuse with you. And yeah, they find her. She's sitting by a tree that looks like it's covered in blood.
Yeah, it's disturbing.
But now we know it's just red spray paint. So like, I thought she got like, I don't know, shot in the head by Sulu because he's just a madman. He found another gun because all he has to do is think about it and another gun will appear. But her shirt's like ripped, or her dress is ripped.
Yeah.
She calls it a tunic later. But yeah, I guess
I think you're supposed to wear pants with a tunic, though.
Probably. Maybe that's why it's so short. It's supposed to be just a tunic, and she just forgot her pants that day. Anyway, so she's just like, oh, I was walking around thinking this place is so perfect. All it needs is a Don Juan type. And then one comes up and attacks her.
I have questions about this. Why? Like, I mean, what?
Why Don Juan?
I mean, if it's her fantasy, I don't know. Something about it seems off. I don't know.
Yeah, why not something more generic like Prince Charming?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But I like how, well, I don't really like it, but I'm going to comment on how Kirk doesn't care. Like, she's like being hysterical and can't like speak what's happening. And Kirk's just like, Barrows, give me a report.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if he's trying to act calm so she will become calm, or if he's just like a dickhead.
He seems like a dickhead. He doesn't seem like he's being that calm. He's just like, please stop babbling. And these subtitles like say crying continues. So it just makes me think like Kirk's getting annoyed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe he just wants to get to the bottom of what happened. I don't know.
I think that's where Act 2 pretty much ends. She says that Sulu ran off after him, so then Kirk goes to look for Sulu, and, well, he runs into someone named Ruth, who I guess is an ex-girlfriend, but I also assume probably has never been on the show before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And it's kind of creepy.
I mean, he talks about it later that he was thinking about his time at the academy because Finnegan showed up.
And he comments that Ruth looks just like she did when he last saw her 15 years ago. I don't know how old Kirk is. Like, I'm assuming like 40, maybe?
I would guess 35, but I don't know for sure.
As long as he's not in his like 20s. Because 15 years ago would be really creepy.
Yeah, that was quite an outfit.
Yes, she's got like this asymmetrical outfit that's like looks like a wedding dress on one side, maybe. It's also transparent now that I'm looking at it.
Yeah, a little bit.
It's very transparent.
Some cool earrings with the like the triangle things going on there. Well, that was kind of cool.
Yeah. And that's the end of Act 1.
So real quick, something we forgot to mention at the beginning of this act. So Kirk has a treasure chest too. Did anyone catch that?
Nope.
Yeah, go back to I don't want you to lose your spot, but one of the first images towards the beginning.
We'll talk about Kirk's treasure chest after this commercial break.
Hello, friends. This is Troidal Power, host of the Troidal Power Presents the Power Playthroughs podcast with Troidal Power, a podcast where I, your host, Troidal Power, play through games in a powerful way. And I'm inviting you to listen to Troidal Power Presents the Power Playthroughs podcast with Troidal Power, a podcast where I, your host, Troidal Power, play through games in a powerful way. You can find it and a lot of other weird shows at probablywork.com.
Kirk's treasure chest.
So, in a previous episode, which one was that? Was that the Native American episode?
Yeah, it was.
Like the really inappropriate...
I don't even remember what that episode was called. I tried to burn it from my memory.
Something Paradise.
Yes. In that one, we pointed out that Spock had a random treasure chest in his quarters. Turns out he's not the only one.
Is it the same chest?
No.
It might be.
No.
It's not overflowing with...
The other one was like wooden.
Yeah, and didn't it have some... It had some color to it, I think.
Yeah, it was red, I think.
This one's just all gold.
Yeah.
So where did this come from? Did they all did they meet a species that just gave each one of them like a random treasure chest, like as like a gift?
I think it was just CBS being like that. We can't have sterile rooms, but put stuff
Quick,
in their
somebody go to
rooms.
the prop closet.
Put some random stuff on the shelf. Yeah.
That's pretty much what I think happened, and
I mean,
just, because right next to the chest is like some sort of indigenous, maybe even something that's supposed to look like Aztec or Mayan carving, like statue. It's really weird.
Yeah, exactly. So for Spock, it felt really out of character, but I could almost see Kirk doing this.
Kirk would love a treasure chest.
Oh my god, he'd be all about it.
It's where he keeps his condoms.
I also don't think he would like have antiques. Like, this seems to be more of a Picard thing. Like, if Picard had a whole bunch of like relics and stuff in his room, I wouldn't think twice about it, because his part-time stuff is archaeology. So with it being Kirk, it's a little bit odd, but
I could see him just taking random like souvenirs from different planets.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, these could be like alien artifacts that he's just sort of bought on his travels, and he's like, oh yeah, I got this from wherever, because he is notorious for bringing ladies back to his room and just boning down.
That makes me think of an episode of Futurama where Zap Brannigan has like all these like stolen artifacts from different planets that they've murdered.
Yeah.
It's also the episode where Fry drinks 100 cups of coffee and becomes the Flash. So
there we go.
That's a good episode.
A Fistful of Dollars.
Is that what it's called?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it was like a play off of the TNG episode title?
I think it's probably a play off of
A Fistful of Dollars.
Oh, well, yeah.
Which is
that's
the
actually
Western,
what the movie's
the Western
called, right?
movie,
The Wild West movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Is it
that makes
Fistful of
sense.
Dollars?
Yeah, A Fistful of Dollars is
I'm sorry,
what it's called.
The Ancient West movie.
Yeah, get it right, Troy. So there's one other thing that happens in the scene, though. I want to point this out. Spock's idea of a good time is doing nothing. Like, literally nothing.
I don't know if that's necessarily his idea of a good time, but if you told Spock that he needed to rest, he would do nothing, because doing otherwise would not be resting. If you're using energy, you're not resting.
Yeah. And I don't know if like he was just, I don't know how to take that. Was he just, I don't know.
I think that that makes sense for Vulcans.
For Vulcan,
but
yeah. Just taking it super
I think that Spock
literally.
is lying.
Yeah?
We've all seen, well, no, we haven't all seen. Me and Eric have seen the Short Trek episodes of Discovery, and I think we all, by all I mean me and Eric, know exactly what Spock is getting up to in his free time when he goes to rest.
Yep.
I've only seen the season 1 episode, those. So
I don't know.
Oh,
I need to go
season 2
see
Short Treks are great.
I need to
You
find
gotta
them
watch them.
somewhere online, because
They're not in Australia, are they?
Hey, CBS,
No,
can you please let our
Netflix
friend
one.
MC watch the Short Treks from season 2 of Discovery? Please, CBS?
Yes, please. Because
They
they're
might
all
be
on
listening.
Netflix. Like, Discovery's on
tagging 'em and
Netflix here.
stuff.
So
On social media.
and they have the season 1 ones on there, but they don't have the season 2 ones yet. So I've been really wanting to see them, because apparently there's a really good one about Tribbles.
There is.
And it's on
Which
the
is
list.
on the list for this show.
Yeah.
I can't wait till we get to it. Anywho, sorry to rewind on us there.
So Act 2. Kirk is mesmerized by Ruth's beauty and ignores McCoy's calls. Eventually, Rodriguez, which is the guy with the blue shirt, I think, gets through to him when he calls and says he saw a flock of birds. And Kirk's like, you like birds, don't you? And he's like, yeah, but not that many birds. And then Spock calls and tells him he detected industrialized manufacturing below the surface of the planet. And Kirk's like, that's weird, and goes to search for Sulu. Meanwhile, Barrows and McCoy walk through the woods together and eventually find a dress fit for a princess. McCoy convinces Barrows to put it on like a creep. Also, meanwhile, Blue Shirt and yellow shirt, I think she has, are attacked by a tiger, and Sulu was attacked by a samurai.
Yes, he was. A random samurai has appeared.
Spock beams down to where Kirk is as Sulu runs into him, and he's like, hey, there's a samurai chasing me. Before they can worry about that, the tiger shows up, and they scatter to look for the energy source and avoid the tiger. Barrows and McCoy run into a knight who charges at McCoy and stabs him with a lance. Kirk shoots Yes.
To death.
He impales him.
Kirk shoots the knight dead and runs to McCoy's seemingly lifeless body as he exclaims, I'm dead, Jim.
Oh, man.
That was perfect.
Okay, so I have to talk about the start of this act with Kirk and Ruth, because...
Yes.
Again, just like with Sulu the gun, Kirk seems under the influence of something here.
Sir, are you all right?
Yes, I'm fine.
And listen, I'm
Pheromones,
I'm going to jump ahead to the end of the episode. They're not. There is no hallucinogenic component to this. They're not stoned. They didn't get sprayed in the face with flower jizz. He's just so goddamn horny for Ruth that he can't pay attention to anything else that's happening around him.
What?
There is nothing to distract him except for that he's just like, I used to have sex with you, and here you are again. And like, that's
in
it.
character.
And your dress is slightly see-through, so I'm thinking about you naked now.
Yep, her dress
That's
is
all
very
And he
see-through.
like forgets how to
hard not
function
to.
because of that. Meanwhile, Bones and Yeoman Redshirt are doing the exact same thing. Like, she's like, check out this planet. Oh, my dress is ripped. I wish I had another dress to put on so I could get naked in front of you, but you wouldn't peek, would you? And he's like, hey, when I peek, it's business time. And she's like, oh, well then look, I'm gonna get naked. Everybody's so freaking horny on this planet.
Dear girl, I am a doctor. When I peek, it's in the line of duty.
Was that a good line or a creepy line?
Creepy.
Okay.
Bones' line was
Just checking.
absolutely creepy. Bones is like,
Yeah.
when I see you naked, it's because I'm abusing my power. Like, no.
Yeah,
That's,
he said, dear girl, I'm a doctor. When I peek, it's in the line of duty.
Yeah.
I need a shower just hearing that.
So I know I said I was going to stop sharing my screen, but I have to share the screenshot.
You so horny right now.
Please tell me you're going to post that on Twitter.
I will. I can't describe it. If someone wants to take a gander at it, like, it's just the weirdest face.
It's just Bones saying they'll look even lovelier with you wearing them, and he's so horny. They're all so horny.
That's Bones' boner face.
He's mid-orgasm in that photo.
It really is.
So I'm
but,
bringing up all this horniness.
Before the dress shows up, I do think Bones and Human Barrow kind of had a sweet moment together. You know, they're just
Before he was
like,
creepy?
Before he got creepy about it. You know.
He's creepy, but she's also into it.
She's into it, yeah.
Can I talk about the sleeves of his shirt? They appeared to be, like, damaged. Like, I don't think that's a design choice. I think that's just, like, they had, like, 2 costumes for him, and he's worn them a lot this season. Yeah.
Do you want
That's
the,
a rank thing, right?
Do you want to know? Yeah, it's rank insignia.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was like, Kirk's doesn't look like that.
It.
Yeah.
Well, that's because Kirk's the captain.
The more braids
So-
you have, the higher your rank.
They didn't have pips in TOS. They had shirt sleeves.
Okay.
So I want to talk some more about horniness because I have a theory that I think holds up throughout the episode.
Okay.
Now, if you remember at the beginning of the episode, Kirk, right as everybody, kind of in the pre-horny days, Kirk started getting a back massage and was real into it until he realized that it was Yeoman Barrow giving him the back massage. And then suddenly he wasn't into it. But who was it that was giving him the back massage? That's right, it was Spock. And down on the planet, everybody's getting real horny, and Kirk is with Sulu, and oh my gosh, we're being chased. And remember, on this planet, whatever you imagine comes to you. And Kirk clearly is going like, man, I wish we had some help right now. And what's that? Even though
Spock
supposedly
shows up.
there's interference from the spaceship and nobody can beam down, Spock beams down to the planet. So here's my theory. That's not Spock. That's horny robot Spock. And Kirk dreamed him up.
I think you might be right. Do you think... Okay, so we're seeing this episode from Kirk's point of view, right? Do you think everyone actually had a totally different episode than what we saw?
Well, no, because like Kirk sees the tiger later, and there's the scene where William Shatner wrestles the tiger because that's actually a thing he wanted to do.
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
he sees the elephant because they did have an elephant on set, and it never actually made it into the shoot. But they did pay to rent an elephant and just had it hanging out and never put a camera pointed at the damn elephant. No, I think they're all seeing the same things. But
do you think they were like, how do we fit an elephant into this? Someone's just going to be like, God damn it, I wish an elephant was here.
Just like an elephant walks behind everyone.
Why is the tiger there? No, I don't think anyone mentioned a tiger.
Who mentioned the tiger? Somebody's horny for tigers.
Rodriguez.
And I think it's Martinez. I'm just saying.
I could see that.
Or Rodriguez. That could be his name too.
Martinez is the woman.
Rodriguez is too busy thinking about planes and birds.
I like them fine, sir.
I think it's the lady. I think she wanted to have him protect her.
I think you're right.
That makes sense.
Is Sulu horny
Makes a
for
lot of sense.
samurai?
Yes.
He's
I
horny
could
for
see that.
action.
Oh, he's horny for action. That's so good, MC. He's horny for guns and knife fights.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so if we're going by the theory that this is all from Kirk's point of view, I could see him thinking that Sulu would imagine a samurai.
Are you calling Kirk racist?
Yes, I'm totally calling Kirk racist. There's a lot of evidence
was
to
the racist
point
one.
that direction. Well, yeah.
On the samurai thing, I'm disappointed that Sulu didn't... Like, there's a samurai here, and then later there's a guy with a fencing foil, and Sulu never picks up a damn sword. I wish that, like, he tries to shoot his phaser at the samurai, and it doesn't work. I wish he, like, tossed it aside, and then panicked, looked around, and his trusty fencing foil was just sitting there waiting for him.
That would be amazing.
And he could have picked it up, and we could have had a Sulu sword fight.
I just wish he found another
would've been the
gun.
best.
Like, what if Sulu just kept finding guns? Like, he
It's like
takes one away,
sitting
and
there.
then he's like, ooh, another one.
Yeah, he pulls out like a Colt revolver just out of nowhere.
It's like the guns keep progressing. There's like a Gatling gun by the end of the episode.
Well, you mentioned there's nothing like this in my collection. So Sulu has a gun collection.
He totally does.
So, like, maybe he just carries a gun with him. Who knows?
Sulu tosses his phaser aside and is like, this is my gat.
Holding it sideways.
Hey, Tyler, did you think Bones was dead?
No, because I've seen a season 3 episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, if Tyler didn't know what order these
Was
were
there-
in.
Was there any tension to Bones' death to you, Tyler? Or were you did you figure out what was going on? Where were you at mentally at this stage?
I didn't figure out what was going on, but I'm like, how are they going to bring him back? Like, I was curious. Yeah, I was also kind of glad because I don't like Bones. Bones is bad.
How about the Princess Yeoman?
She was definitely there.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Like, she's literally only there to put on the princess dress, and that's it. She doesn't do
And then
anything.
to weirdly change out of the princess dress again later?
Yeah.
Suddenly she went and changed back into her uniform, I guess.
Was it ripped still? I don't remember.
I think it was ripped, but on the wrong side.
Oh, nice.
I'm
I
pretty
kind of
sure.
like this actress. I'm a little disappointed that this is apparently her only episode, though, you know? I don't know.
Yeah, I thought she was good.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
She just didn't get enough to do, and I assumed that she was in more episodes. But
what's really funny is the whole reason that Bones gets stabbed is because they're talking about, like, him protecting her from, like, exactly this sort of thing. Like, and the Black Knight or whatever the ideal is. And, of course, he's like, oh, it's just a hallucination. It's just, like, fantasy. It's not actually going to hurt me. And then he gets stabbed, and then when everyone rocks up, they're like, our faces aren't working. And Kirk pulls out a gun and shoots the knight.
yes, he pulls out Sulu's gun.
Yeah.
But
Just shoots the knight with a revolver.
what I want to know is where they got so many bullets for the damn thing. Because he hasn't reloaded it
It's
yet.
probably...
It was super effective.
I think that this is... I wish this happened more in this episode, but I like the idea that what they imagine doesn't act perfect, it acts like they imagine it. So I like the idea that Sulu knows enough about guns to like have a gun fabricate itself, but doesn't understand how ammo works. Because like you don't have to reload a phaser. So I like the idea that the gun has infinite bullets because Sulu just doesn't really get ammo.
Of course, and after they kill the knight, they realize, oh, it's not a real person.
But that's
it's like
Act
a weird
3.
creepy dummy. Oh, well then get to Act 3, Tyler.
Act 3. Everyone is super sad that McCoy's dead, except for me. Spock discovers that the knight has the same basic cell structure as the plants that he was smoking. Elsewhere, Rodriguez and Martinez, I wrote Martin, get attacked by a World War II plane. Spock comes to the conclusion that the weird things they are seeing are as deadly as they are real, because McCoy is dead. And he asks Kirk what he was thinking about when he saw the people he saw, and Kirk tells him about Finnegan, and then Finnegan reappears. Kirk chases after him, and they get in a fist fight for like 10 minutes. And Kirk looks like he loses it.
Mm-hmm.
That fist fight actually like bleeds into Act 4. So
Act 3 is all about Kirk losing his shit. He is just so done with all of this. He's like...
That's like his character arc.
Yeah, right?
Like just in general.
I scanned the person, they're the same thing, and Kirk's like, are you saying he's a plant? What are you talking about?
yeah, Spock's like, the plants, the animals, the people, they're all being manufactured.
Dun, 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 dun.
But the government,
Soylent
it's
Green
lies.
is people. Yeah, it just, I don't know, I was almost expecting like a happening type twist here.
You know what's weird?
They didn't really go there.
This is the same thing that happened in Cat Spa.
Yeah?
I just realized that. Like, Cat Spa was also an episode where the things that the crew, or was in the crew's heads, became fabricated and real, and they had to deal with it. Huh.
Well, it was all in Kirk's head last time, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was
It's always all
genetic
Kirk's.
memories or whatever dumb bullshit that was.
You mean racial memories?
So, Troy, are you saying...
That was bad.
It's like, if you didn't know any better, it's like someone's playing a trick or treat. Yeah. So I like the scene where blue shirt and yellow shirt are just like hanging out, and he's like, "Oh, cool! Look at that World War II plane." And yellow shirt's like, "Can it hurt us?" And he's like, "No, not as long as it doesn't try to attack us." And then it tries to attack them, and they just have to run from gunfire.
Yeah, essentially he says, "Oh, unless it does a strafing run, that's how they used to attack." And of course, immediately after he says that, that's exactly what happens.
Can I tell y'all something weird?
Sure.
About 10 minutes before I watched this episode, there was a conversation happening in my household about geese doing a strafing run on our house. And then I watched this episode, and they talked about a strafing run. I'm like, how often does a strafing run come up twice in a day?
That's funny. So at this point, just to recap, we've had a random samurai, a tiger, a knight, like an old Wild West revolver, and now a World War II plane show up.
Mm-hmm. And Finnegan. And Kirk's ex-girlfriend.
And a rabbit.
Kirk's ex-girlfriend.
And a blonde girl.
And a rabbit. From Alice in Wonderland.
Can I share another behind-the-scenes thing at this point?
I love how random everything is in this episode.
So, apparently, the script for this episode was too fantastical. It was too ridiculous and over the top. And so Gene Roddenberry was like, hey, somebody needs to rewrite this. And he gave it to one of his staff writers who misunderstood the memo and thought that Gene Roddenberry was asking for it to be more fantastical. And so he rewrote it and put even more dumb bullshit in, which is probably how they ended up renting an elephant and having it on set. And then Gene Roddenberry was there when they were filming and was like, what the fuck is this shit? I said less of this nonsense. So Gene Roddenberry was like sitting off camera under a tree, rewriting the script by hand as they were filming the episode.
Nice.
That's fantastic. I love that.
What dumb bullshit other than the elephant do you think they had in this?
The one I could tell you, this wasn't in the script necessarily, but William Shatner was literally like, there's going to be a tiger on set. I'm going to wrestle the tiger. Hey guys, I'm going to wrestle a tiger today. And they're like, no, Bill, you're not. And he's like, but I'm William Shatner, so I'm pretty sure I'm going to wrestle a tiger.
He would probably just like try to hit it with both fists.
He'd do the 2-fist thing, and then he'd like
And then it would, like,
stand
maul
still
him.
and like hop up in the air and kick his feet out at it.
He always does a kick. Every fight.
Kirk's got like three fighting moves.
Yep.
It's your classic fighting game thing. You've got 4 buttons on the control pad. One of them's got to be block, and so then you've got your 3 attacks.
I want a TOS fighting game. Or just like a Star Trek fighting game. Like a Mortal Kombat game with Star Trek characters. I want to see what Picard's special move is.
So he and Finnegan fight real good for a really long time. And by real good, I mean kind of bad. For a really long time. For like an extraordinarily long time.
It's like 10 minutes.
And then Finnegan's like, "Oh, you've broken my back." And Kirk's
it's
like,
the worst
"Can you
acting.
fill this?" And I guess he's trying to like poke him. I don't know. Like, it doesn't show what he's doing, but he says, "Can you fill this?" And then Finnegan flips him over and possibly breaks Kirk's back because he already had back problems.
So at one point during this scene, Finnegan calls him an old man, and Kirk absolutely loses it.
I've got the edge. I'm still 20 years old. Look at you. You're an old man. I can't move my leg.
And when Finnegan flips him over, it somehow rips Kirk's entire shirt off.
Okay, so this is what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about this scene. There's no way that move could have torn his shirt at all.
Yes.
Oh my god. What the hell happened? Like,
Exactly. I don't know. I don't know. Like, did it get snagged on a cactus and just like tear off?
who knows? But there's no way
It looks
that
like he
move
was
where
through an
he flips him.
explosion.
Yeah, I know.
It does.
There's no way. And not only that, but all the fight, like, it's terrible. And he looks exhausted. Like,
I have a theory.
absolutely. What?
I have a theory about why Kirk's shirt is completely ripped and he looks like shit all of a sudden. I think between takes, he fought that tiger. And this is what happened. When no one was looking.
That's why Kirk's got a tiger skin rug hung up next to his treasure chest for the rest of the series.
Finnegan turned into the tiger in between the scenes.
So Kirk was the one horny for the tiger.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
It would have been cool if they would have had a showdown where the Finnegan, the samurai, the tiger, the plane comes back, and it's just like... yeah.
Kirk takes them all on.
Yep.
Kirk
By
ends
himself.
He's
up
just
winning.
like double fisting everything.
Yes, the plane. as it, like,
during
flies over.
During the whole scene, like, Kirk's asking Finnegan questions
Yeah.
as they're fighting, and Kirk wins, and he still really doesn't get any answers from him. So, and then Spock turns up and he's like, you have fun?
Yeah, it's
The
like,
whole
did
reason
you
he's
enjoy it,
fighting him
Captain?
is because he's like, I want to get answers. I want to know what's going on. And he thinks Finnegan's going to have answers, which he doesn't or doesn't share. I don't know which. But in any case, that takes us to Act 4, right? I was going to go skip to the end of the episode, but we're doing this whole structure thing that I suggested.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that fight bleeds into Act 4. So Kirk and Finnegan resume fighting, and Kirk defeats him. Kirk and Spock come to the conclusion that they're having their minds read by these little antenna things that keep popping up. And these things are rapidly manufactured as some form of wish fulfillment. The lending party gathers together, and Kirk instructs them to do not think of anything. An old man shows up and explains to everyone that this planet is a playground for his people. Anything you can think of can be created, and none of it is permanent. McCoy shows up alive with 2 women on his arms. The old man
2
offers
showgirls.
The old man offers to let them use the planet however they would like. Kirk plans to return to the ship and send the crew down for a massive orgy, but gets distracted when he sees Ruth again. Sometime later, the crew returns to the ship. Spock asks them if they enjoyed their rest, which they're all like, yeah, we did. And Spock's like, it's very illogical. And they just laugh and laugh and laugh because they all just came back from an orgy. So my question for you is...
Such an orgy.
Hera get to go to the orgy? Does she get to go to the orgy, or does she have to stay on the phone the whole time, like just in case like Spock needed to talk to someone?
I think everybody went to the orgy in shifts except for Spock. But that's okay, because sexy or horny Robo Spock was already on the planet, so. So y'all were joking about Kirk punching an airplane, but once he realized that this planet would let him do whatever he want, I totally believe that Kirk had 2 tigers come up that he punched in the butthole to make boxing gloves, and then flew up on a jetpack to an airplane flying above him and used the tiger to punch the airplane out of the sky with a double tiger punch. I mean, that seems like something he would do. And then he would go, now that I've done that, we can go to the orgy.
Does that happen in the books? I can't remember.
So let me get this. Kirk has both hands ass deep in tigers, so they've just got their claws going like...
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
and then he puts them together to form one big tiger, which is what he does when he puts his 2 fists together, is they form one big fist. And then he uses that giant tiger fist to punch an airplane.
I guess this is as good as time as any to ask you guys, what is a tiger?
What? A cat?
Like a big cat.
Look, there's a cat, yeah, I got a cat.
Oh, shit.
I didn't even... Oh, man. That's true.
We mentioned the tiger so briefly, and then Troy had the fun facts about the tiger that I just forgot. The tigers are cats. Yeah. So anybody got any tiger and or cat stories?
I got to play with a baby tiger once. When I was a little kid, I think my grandparents took me to this place that's like a wildlife safari park. It actually might have been the same one that my wife and I went to last year. I've just realized. But it was a like place where they like take it. What I'm telling myself is that it's the same place my wife and I went to, which is a place that takes like rescue tigers basically and takes them out of abusive situations and gives them a fairly comfortable place to live, and not an abusive place on its own. But when I was there, as a little kid, they had a baby tiger and the little baby bears, and the baby tiger was cute and everything, but y'all, I gotta have a little black bear sit in my lap, a little baby black bear, and it was the cutest damn thing I've ever seen, because they're just big, dumb, roly-poly balls of fluff, and it was great.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
The baby tiger was just like a cat, and I was like, I don't like cats. The baby tiger, or the baby bears, were more like bigger, dumber dogs. And as a dog person, that was very, very good.
Troy, have you seen Tiger King?
No, I've not seen Tiger King.
Don't. Oh, your childhood will be ruined.
The place my wife and I went to a place last year. I think I actually talked about it on Too Young for This Hit at one point for a Look, There's a Cat segment.
Mm-hmm.
But it's good. If you've been to a zoo and seen pictures of like jungle cats in the wild, they weren't actually in the wild. They were from this rescue place in Oregon. Like all of the wildcat photography in the United States is these people's cats that they like train to be semi-sociable so that they can let them loose in an area and get pictures of them looking like they're in the wild and then bring them back to a safe place to live.
We have something like that in Jacksonville called the Caddy Shack. The Kitty Shack Ranch?
We have definitely talked about this on Too Young for This Trip because I remember you telling me about this place.
Yeah, and they used to breed tigers, but they don't anymore, so they're all like rescues now, which is great.
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
So speaking of cats, while I was watching this episode, I was trying to eat dinner, and I got so into the episode, I didn't realize that I had like 4 cats around me just like waiting for this food, like just trying to get to my plate.
I thought you were going to say that you got so into it that you ate the cat.
Oh, my computer's freezing up. What was that?
We both made jokes.
Oh, damn. I totally missed it.
I was just letting the audience know that you have 6 cats, so it's not like, 4 cats just showed up and you're like, what the hell are these cats doing here?
There was like one on my lap, like one on the side of the couch, one behind me. It was just like they were just swarming, like raptors. You know how they come from like every angle? Like they were coordinating this shit.
You got anything, MC?
Not this week. The cats haven't really done. My sister got the little cat. It's like this ice cream car shaped box thing that she's supposed to like chew and scratch in, and she seems to be enjoying that because it's like a little box almost. And you know how cats love boxes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cat's little box.
Can confirm. So yeah, Bones shows up with two showgirls. Yeoman Bauman?
Barrowman?
Barrows.
John Barrowman's in this episode?
Barrows.
Yeoman. Anyways, Yeoman is not happy about it. Because
she's like, why do you have slutty showgirls? And Bones is like, didn't you
like,
hear
I thought
this
we
is
had a
Planet
thing.
Orgy?
I thought we had a creepy thing with the princess dress. Yeah.
So the first time I heard Kirk say her name, I didn't have subtitles on, and I thought he was referring to her as woman. I thought he was like, woman, stop massaging me.
That's amazing.
So McCoy's explanation for these women is like, he's like, well, they have rapid manufacturing down there. And I was just like thinking about this one time I was at this strip club and like,
yeah,
boom.
On Rigel too.
Yeah, it was a cabaret on Rigel too, specifically.
Did anyone see where the yeoman in the gold uniform came from? Because she was injured in that attack by the strafing aeroplanes, but she just sort of turns up right now. Like,
well, yeah, they weren't actually killed.
I think she
or
comes
injured.
back with Bones. Same thing. Because that's something that's important is Bones did get stabbed through with the lance. And, like, was lying on the ground dying, and then they took him down below into, like, their weird factory and rebuilt his guts.
I was wondering if it was, like, a holodeck situation, just the whole planet was, like, a holodeck made out of plant material instead of photons.
He said that they had a repair facility.
But there's... I think you also don't see her arrive. She's just there in one scene. After, like, the...
McCoy gets like this huge celebration, like, McCoy's back. We're all so happy. She's just there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, and you're
and
here.
She's snuggling up to that guy that she's been snuggling up to all episode.
Good old blue shirt.
Yeah.
Lieutenant Rodriguez.
Yeah, she's like, I don't need to fuck a robot. I'm going to have sex with Blue Shirt. Listen, they put 3 extra characters in this episode, and one of them wore yellow, one of them wore red, and one of them wore blue. They knew that we were going to think of them as yellow shirt, red shirt, and blue shirt.
So poor Rodriguez, that showgirl walks right past him to Spock.
And that's horny robot Spock. He's here for Kirk. He doesn't care about her.
Yeah, the other one goes for Sulu, I think.
Which,
wrong tree.
Like, yeah. Yeah, exactly. I was trying to figure out how to say that.
She put her arm around Sulu, and then
like,
Sulu put his arm around Rodriguez.
Yes.
I just want to point out, Sulu and George Takei are 2 different people. That even though he is, we don't know.
Yes.
What sexuality Sulu is. I'm pretty sure.
Except
in this timeline, you are correct. In the Kelvin timeline, he is canonically gay. But in this timeline, I don't think that's confirmed.
I was going to say, in this timeline, he's sexually attracted to danger.
That's... Oh, my
Samurai
God.
Swords.
Tyler just stole my joke.
Oh, no.
I was going to say action. I was going to say he's sexually attracted to action, but...
That's great.
And then they all have an orgy, they all drink lemonade, and they fly off into the sunset again. They all have t-shirts that say, I went to Planet Orgy and all I got was the stupid t-shirt.
And STDs.
No, because they got condoms out of Kirk's treasure chest.
He had enough for the whole crew, all 400 and something of them.
432, according to a flippant comment that Bones makes earlier in the episode. Anyway, what?
I'm surprised that they don't bring up this planet more. Like, 2 years into their 5-year mission, they should be like, why don't we just go back to the orgy planet? Like, this sucks.
They just start instituting shipwide orgies after this, so then they don't have to go back to the orgy planet.
I mean, it was the future 60s.
It is the future 60s, exactly. Tyler, I revisited the tape after you asked about whether Uhura got to go down to the orgy and saw the face she makes as all the people coming from the orgy walk onto the bridge, and she most definitely did not get to go to the orgy,
She's
and
not
she
pleased.
is pissed about it.
Like, everyone's
She's
smiling.
Like, you sons of bitches.
And she's just like looking at them like, yeah, I've been working this damn like phone the whole time. Like, no one's even been calling.
Glad you all had fun.
Some of y'all called just so I could hear the noises.
Oh, God.
Just to rub it in. She's been hitting on Spock the whole time, but he's just not into it.
Yeah. I mean, he's into it. He just doesn't show it.
Well, again,
Poker
in the
face.
Kelvin timeline,
Yeah.
I hate that.
The
That's
Kelvin
almost
timeline?
as bad as Batman and Batgirl in Dark Knight Rises.
Dark Knight Returns.
Wait.
No.
Dark Knight
no.
Returns?
No. It was the Killing Joke. The animated Killing Joke.
It was the
Yeah.
Killing Joke. You're right.
But-
That was so bad.
But it didn't start there. This is actually a Bruce Timm thing. If you watch Batman the Animated Series season 3, season 4, they hint at it, and it's horrible. It was bad then.
I hate it.
It's bad now.
Listen,
it's not
Bruce
right.
Timm, you are fantastic, Bruce Timm.
Yes.
Most of what you do is amazing. That can't happen.
No.
That's just, no.
I totally agree.
That's
Barbara
terrible.
Gordon is like 20 years younger than him. She's in college.
It's not okay.
Bruce
and she's got a thing for
is-
Dick Grayson.
Right,
Come on, Bruce
right. They
Timm.
should have ended up together. What was up with that?
Anyway, join me and Eric on our new podcast where we talk about all of the inappropriate relationships in superheroes. Can we end this now?
Back to that new podcast. I think you could probably just make it Batman and make like a huge long series out of it.
I'm down.
I could, except for I just started listening to another podcast that is covering all of the DC animated universe. So I can't now also go do that podcast.
I am down after November. Once we finish the Bond stuff, I'm fine. It's just, we've got a full plate until then. 3 podcasts is enough.
I'm not going to ask you about Tribbles or Majel Barrett because we've both those ships have sailed. So Tyler.
Yep.
Who did a good job and a bad job in this one?
I liked Sulu, but for the wrong reasons.
Yes.
I love Sulu, man.
Yep, Sulu was just like,
Sulu's
I found
so
this
much
gun.
fun.
Bang, bang. That's his
gotta
character
say-
arc.
I love seeing Bones happy. I know you can't stand him. I know you were happy he died, but
Yeah,
I thought this was a good Bones episode. I liked him.
That's
in it.
why Bones was the worst in this episode, because he came back.
Oh, Tyler.
Bones should have stayed
You
dead.
haven't even seen the Star Trek movies yet.
There's a lot he hasn't seen yet.
Well,
That's
I
kind of
know,
the whole
but-
premise of the show.
There are so many good Bones moments to come. That's all I'm saying. You will love Bones by the end of the show.
Something Bones coming orgy planet. I was gonna ask how this managed to be our most explicit episode yet, and then I was like, oh wait, this episode is super horny. That's why, and it made sense.
Orgy Planet.
We will get to hornier episodes though. This is not the horniest episode
No.
on the list. Like, not even close.
Have you seen
Well,
the
There's even
Star
a movie
Wars
that might
meme?
qualify.
I didn't hear what either of you said. I'm sorry.
Sorry, what'd you say, Tyler?
No, it's not important. You keep talking, and I'll pull up what I was talking.
Oh, okay. I was saying I think there might even be a Star Trek movie that might qualify. You know which one I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
One
yeah,
of the
the
movies
one
is
with-
particularly horny.
Yep.
Listen, if you haven't heard Data talk about his breasts, then you haven't seen a horny Star Trek movie.
Yes. Exactly. Maybe not the best Star Trek movie, but it does have some magical moments.
It does have Data talking about his breasts. Oh, yes, I did see Sam Jackson saying he's too horny to be left alive.
I could just hear it in his voice.
That applies to Bones in this episode. He was too horny to be left alive.
He was. But then he came back.
What
Twice
else
as
do we have
horny.
to do to end that? Twice as horny with 2 girls.
You have to ask me, did the science technobabble make sense?
Hey, Tyler, did the science take about make sense of the thing?
Yeah, they're just 3D printing people.
Yeah. 3D printing people that, for some reason, turn into, like, creepy dummies after you murder them. So, like,
Yeah.
I guess...
Oh, I forgot to mention, there was that scene where, like, Kirk's, like, poking its face. I couldn't stop
Maybe
laughing.
that's what he was doing to Finnegan later on.
Just the way, like, that shot worked, it was just like a slow poke.
Yeah,
like,
that
through his
makes
cheek.
that makes no sense. The Finnegan, Ruth, look normal.
They look
but
totally
then
normal.
That guy didn't.
Well, he did, presumably, until he died.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's what I assume.
I mean,
Like if
also
Kirk had
he was
finished
in a.
strangling Finnegan, he would have looked like that too.
Yeah.
I mean,
and then he would have poked his face.
He was in a full set of armor. Why did they need to make him look perfect if he was going to be in armor?
That's a good
That's
point.
true.
The funny thing is, like, they make fun of how fake he looks, but we know they're like using those like as stand-in sometimes. Like in the first
Naked
episode
Time.
we watched, the Naked Time. Like,
Yeah.
yep.
The frozen corpses.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler, do we do what you think first? We do what we think first?
Me and MC disagree on what we do first.
I don't know.
I always thought that we got Tyler to go first so we didn't influence his opinion.
Yeah, I like the
And
idea of
Tyler
Tyler going
thought we
first.
went.
All right, Tyler, what did you think? Or
Okay.
wait, what did our listeners think, Tyler?
Yeah.
Then you can say what you think.
listeners first, then Tyler, then us.
So our listeners thought they were all over the place, man. Like, yeah. So we had 14 votes, which is the most we've had. There's still 30 minutes left. We could get some more. So 43% thought it was a good episode. 21 thought it was a bad episode. And 36 thought it was a meh episode.
Really?
And if those numbers don't line up to you, like if you add that up and it's 101, it's because Twitter does like point blah, 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 and I just round it. So,
okay.
Yeah, so overall, I guess people thought it was a good episode, which I agree. I thought it was a good episode. I thought it was going to be awful from the trailer. It was actually really fun.
So I have to admit, I have a newfound appreciation for this episode. I thought it was fun. I remember it being a bad one, but at the same time, my fandom went through a few phases. At one point, I only liked the serious episodes, and I couldn't stand the cheesy ones. But now I've like come full circle, and like I love the cheesy episodes. I think they're great.
Yeah, this is in the good list for me. It is ridiculous, but I feel like this is Star Trek doing a pretty good job with the ridiculousness, whereas Cat's Paw is a great example of them doing not that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I like this one. It's not.
It's charming.
I don't know. It's very light and cheesy. It's much like Fistful of Data's. Like, this is a popcorn episode to me. It's
It
just
is
kind of
very
fun.
like fast paced for something
Yes.
made in the 60s.
Yeah.
Totally. Well, you got
Lots of
random
running.
samurai appearing.
Yeah, they're like, oh shit, there's a samurai. Oh fuck, there's a tiger.
Yeah.
Pew pew plane. Oh god.
Yep.
So what you think, MC?
Oh yeah, it was all right. I wouldn't say it was like a great episode, but it was fun, entertaining. I mean, what else do you want from a Star Trek episode than to be entertained?
Now, it wasn't a very deep episode, so I wouldn't put it in
No.
like my top 10 or anything, but
Yeah, that's a very horny episode. Yeah.
It was very horny.
It was very horny.
Speaking of horny episodes, it's time, Tyler, for you to pick what episode we're going to watch next. And I made it sound like you're going to try to pick a horny episode, but that doesn't necessarily have to be the case.
Yeah, just look for titles that you think are horny.
there's a few to choose from.
Okay, I'm gonna type in the word horny. Nothing came up.
The horny time.
Let's see. And the children
This is the lost
and the
episode.
children shall lead isn't very horny.
Is that on the list?
Yeah,
Please tell me that's not on the list. Oh my god. What were you thinking, Troy?
I'm looking for something real horny.
God, what are you going to read that you're going to think is horny?
I don't know. Blood fever? No.
Well,
Broken bow or bow is a little horny. The Bride of Chaotica?
Chaotica.
Chaotica? Okay.
Chaotica.
It's a little horny. Calypso. Calypso, that could be horny, right?
Oh, that one.
Data's Day. I bet that's a horny one. But I'm
Do you
going
want
to try
spoilers?
to. No. I'm going to try to pick one that could possibly be Deep Space Nine without knowing pretty much anything about Deep Space Nine. So let's see.
I am on the edge of my seat right now. Just saying.
I had something picked out before I was thinking about horny episodes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and now I'm just like, what in here could be horny? Okay, this isn't going to be a Deep Space Nine episode, but it's probably the horniest title we have. Menage Troy. So, in the sake of horniness, I have to go with that one. I was going to go Deep Space Nine, but...
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Next time on Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Transport 4, immediately.
Troy and her mother are kidnapped by the evil Ferengi.
Your telepathic powers could bring us both great profit.
And a devious plan could rob them of their telepathic abilities.
Give her to me.
Now, Riker is the only one who can stop their deadly experiment.
We have to help her.
Get away from her. On Star Trek: The Next Generation.
So it's got Ferengi, so you know it's already horny.
Oh yeah.
That's one kind of horny.
Well.
Making it rain latinum.
This episode, I will tell you now, has one of the most often memed moments in Star Trek, in all of Star Trek, is from this episode.
This is that episode.
I've got no clue what it could be.
None at
Really?
all? Really?
None. No.
I'm sure you could call it if you knew.
I don't know. It's like the only thing I can't think of any like other thing than
Except
like
for all the memes you made.
Face bombing.
What did you think of that trailer for Menage a Troy?
Not a lot. It wasn't very engaging. Like, yeah, like Troy's bombs there. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
There's a Ferengi.
Mm-hmm.
Riker's doing something.
Let me ask you the real important question. What do you think of Riker's blouse in that trailer?
Yes.
Can we see it again?
It's like a royal blue.
Yeah, and maybe think of what he was wearing when he was doing the play.
I think it was the same thing he was wearing
Might
in
have
the
been
play.
the same thing.
It was a nice blouse.
Isn't it a nice blouse?
So yeah, I have
Riker's
no
got
clue
good blouse game.
what is happening in this episode. I don't. Why is it only them? Like, are they like off duty? And Riker's like, oh, I got to go help Troy with her mom.
They went to the orgy planet.
And the Ferengi are there.
Because
Ferengi.
of course they are.
The evil Ferengi.
Ferengi.
Is it going to be good or bad, Tyler?
The trailer looks meh, but
Okay.
I'm going to stick with meh. But you said it's got a meme in it, so it's probably going to be entertaining.
We'll find out next week on Too Young for This Trek, except we're not done with the episode yet, because Tyler's got to do the plugs.
So you can listen to more of MC and Troy on the best animated shows ever so far, where they watch, rank, and review every cartoon ever so far. Based on its first 3 episodes, right now they're doing Darkwing Duck.
Darkly Dawns the Duck, Part 2, comes out the same day as this episode.
And Darkwing Duck has a grappling hook, so that's cool.
It does.
Yeah, so you can find more of Eric's work on Epic Fails of History. That's Epic with a K, where he talks about humanity's greatest failures and what we can learn from them. Anything new over there?
Yes. It's good.
You heard it here
There's
first,
something in the
folks.
works. There's something in the works. It's a secret.
Yeah. So, while you wait for that, go buy Eric's books. Eric has books.
Thank you.
Go buy them.
I wrote a book series a couple years back, and I'm hoping we get a chance to do more at some point. Fingers crossed.
It's called Epic Fails with a C.
Called
instead
Epic
of a K.
Fails. The first one's on the Wright brothers. Second one's on NASA, the early days of NASA. So
That's topical.
Eric, did you know that when
Yeah.
I was in, I think, second grade, I was in the Talented and Gifted program, which meant some days I got to go to a different building instead of school and like goof off. But as part of that, I had to pick a historical figure to do a presentation on, and I picked Orville Wright. And for the
Nice.
presentation, I had to dress up in costume as Orville Wright. So if you remind me next week, I can bring you a picture of Tiny Troy dressed up as Orville Wright.
that's amazing. I mean, if you're cool with it, I might post that like all over Twitter and stuff.
I'll have to dig it up, but
Anyways, so you can also listen to Podcasters Assemble, which is about 007 at the moment, and you can do more than just listen.
you can be the podcast.
Yeah, you are the podcast.
You can
so the
assemble.
next one you can submit for is The Man with the Golden Gun, which is due June 15th. But the next one that comes out is the only James Bond movie I have ever seen.
That's so shocking to me. Live and let die.
Yeah.
Live and let die.
It's the worst.
I watched it twice for a podcast that I never recorded.
Yeah,
so I'm about to watch it a third time for a podcast that I will record and will be released.
Yeah.
I'm
It'd
really
be funny if you
looking forward to
didn't
that.
release it.
It's a movie. It sure is a movie.
It has a good song.
Yeah.
It does have a great song.
There's one good scene in it. There's one.
There's maybe 2 good scenes.
It has good scenes. It has problems.
There's a lot of problems. The cons outweigh the pros for sure, but
It's got your pimp mobiles. It's got
it's going to be a good
stereotypes.
podcast episode. It's a good conversation piece.
Yeah,
and it seems like it could be very topical.
Oh yeah, it will be topical.
Yeah, it might hit a little close to home.
Yeah.
So anyway, if you want to hear more of Tyler, listen to this podcast.
I have other
Do you plug
podcasts,
anything
but
for yourself?
they're like my podcasts are on hiatus at the moment. So
my podcast is always on hiatus. If you haven't noticed.
Well, my movie podcast kind of got screwed over by the coronavirus. None of the movies I was planning to talk about.
Shit!
Yeah.
Has Bill and Ted 3 been officially delayed yet? I just realized that it's gonna be.
I think I heard it's been completed.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But
like
is it going to get a theatrical release?
At some point. I'm sure they're holding off on it because I think
Man.
they're expecting it to be big. What if they release that, John Wick 4, and the next Matrix all on the same day?
Keanu Reeves,
Oh my God.
we appreciate that you're such a big fan of our podcast. It's really nice of you to listen and to send us those emails every week to let us know that you're listening. If you could just put out Bill and Ted 3 on like a streaming service instead of theatrical release, that'd be super cool. I'd be okay with that.
But Troy,
personally,
you know what else they're releasing that day? They secretly filmed Speed 3, and they got Keanu back.
I've never seen
you
a Speed
lying?
movie.
I am lying.
Oh,
I didn't expect anyone to be excited.
I got real excited for a second. I would totally be down to see that.
This time he's on a bicycle, and he's got to keep going 100 miles per hour.
Oh. No. Just going down a hill.
It's a very short movie.
Anyways.
I want to see Speed 3 on a plane. Oh, wait. Shit, that wouldn't work. That'd be...
I mean,
no,
they've
that
got
could be
the little
real bad.
seatback displays, so you could probably watch it there.
Anyways,
No, I'm
you
just
can
saying,
find
like,
links to everything
terrorists
we
and
mentioned.
planes don't really... Sorry.
They do mix. But anyways.
Don't listen to me. I'm really tired.
That's the podcast. You can find links to everything in the show notes. Follow us on social media and get on our Discord. You can maybe pick an episode by giving me a random number between 1 and 240 something, I think. Yeah, that's it, Troy. How do we end it?
Listen, if this this podcast goes less than 100 miles an hour, it's going to explode. So we're all going to beam the F out of here right now. That was a good beam out, Eric.
Thanks, man.
I
I'm
like
working
that
on
one.
it. I've been like practicing in the mirror. Meg was making fun of like how bad I am at the beam out, so I was like, I gotta work on this. So I committed to it.
Okay, I'm gonna go eat dinner. I'll see you guys later.
Hey there, folks. It's Troy. I'm just popping in here to give you a quick programming update. As most of you are probably aware, the world is in kind of a chaotic state right now, and especially the United States, because of the brutal murdering of George Floyd. So we're actually going to change things up a little bit here on Too Young for This Trek, in solidarity with Black Lives Matter and in the hope for justice for George Floyd. We're going to cover the Deep Space Nine episode Far Beyond the Stars next, because we think it'll give us
an opportunity to discuss some topics that are relevant today. So Menage a Troi will still be coming up soon, but our next episode will be on the Deep Space Nine episode, Far Beyond the Stars.
This has been a presentation
of the We Can Make This Work
Probably Network.
Follow us on Twitter
@ProbablyWork
for more of our questionable content.
Also, we have a website called probablywork.com.